Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's review we're going to be checking out Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So this is developed by Infinity Ward and published by Activision, so a massive thanks to them for the review copy. I just want to mention that in this review we're mostly just going to be talking about the multiplayer. However, I will go ahead and say that they did a great job with the campaign. It's really like realistic and impactful. There's some pretty cool scenes in it. And I always did think that Call of Duty did do a great job of doing a surprisingly good campaign and well keeping it for the most part in the realms of reality. So I always wanted them to bring back the campaign, and I'm really happy they did, and the campaign is really good. But we're going to be talking about the multiplayer for this video. So I've always been a pretty hardcore Call of Duty player, especially in my younger years of online gaming. That's really the game that got me into the more competitive side of gaming. I always used to pretty much just dedicate myself to Call of Duty a few years back anyway. And it's always nice to come back to the newer ones and just see how they're doing or what's going on. I haven't really played the last few. Not much anyway. I do have them, but I just didn't have time, especially for the multiplayer. And for the most part, the multiplayer in a lot of the recent ones I just have not liked. So when I heard that this one is going to go back to the roots, not going to be any parkour, no superhero abilities or anything like that, I was pretty excited. So yeah, I've now spent quite a few hours in the multiplayer, and there are a few things that I would like to go over. So this one, the first most impactful thing is that it's simply more realistic in every aspect. The sound is just incredible, the graphics are really well done, the weapon design, everything is just incredibly well done. Like, it's almost scary realistic when you shoot certain weapons and just hear the bullets drop and stuff like that. Is incredibly well done if you have a decent headset. Now, like we said, they're going more back to their roots, so it's a lot more simple. The kill streaks obviously aren't like the original Modern Warfare. There's not just 3 kill streaks, there's obviously more, but they're more on the realistic side. And to be honest, I think this is the Call of Duty that I've been waiting for, and pretty much everybody's been waiting for. However, there is just one major thing that I just didn't really like about this particular Call of Duty when it comes to the multiplayer. It's just probably too realistic. Like, everything else is exactly how anybody would really like a Call of Duty, and I understand why they did it this realistic, just to keep scene with the graphics and the movement and everything else. But because it's so realistic, and that's obviously not a bad thing for most people, this is more of just a personal complaint I would say, is that it is very hard to play certain play styles, because I've always been somebody that's loved to run around, just run and gun with a submachine gun, drop shot everybody, just jump around the corners like a madman, steady aim, dead silence or whatever, just going mental everywhere. It is very hard to play that style in this Call of Duty game. If you're somebody that just kind of prefers to have an assault rifle, move around a bit more slowly, maybe sit in a few corners, just saying, or sit in a window, cover a certain area on the map, then you're gonna have a blast of a time. You're not gonna have any issues with this game at all. It's probably gonna be your favorite Call of Duty ever. But if you are the typical kind of guy that really does like to rush everywhere and run and gun, let's just say that minimum you're gonna have to adapt quite a lot. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to play like that, but you are going to have to get used to a lot of things. There's just so many things in this game that encourages people to play at a slower pace. They encourage people to maybe camp a little bit more. Call of Duty's always been a game where people camp, but I believe this one's just a bit worse because of so many things. It's louder, you can hear footsteps from absolutely miles away, so if you're rushing everywhere, you're going to get heard before you even walk in the door. You do get dead silence, but it's not a perk, so it's not always activated. You have to activate it every now and then it's on a cooldown. Guns obviously are a lot slower and kind of more sluggish because it is more realistic, so you're not just going to drop shot or anything like that. It's maybe a bit slower when you bring your gun up, and it's just slower movement in general. Maps are also in general a bit bigger. There's more open areas, which makes it hard to play like with an SMG. Some of the maps are okay for SMGs. You can have decent games by running around. I'm not saying that you can't. If you're really good at the game, I'm sure you can as well. But for the most part, the maps are also not like these free-laned typical maps from Call of Duty. There are a few that have got 2 or 3 lanes or kind of have that layout, but for the most part they've got like buildings, corridors, little top floor, bottom floor on every building, and there's just so many corners to watch. There's so many explosions, footsteps coming from every direction, and it's quite confusing. It's not impossible to have a good game by running and gunning, but you are definitely going to have to adapt and learn if you do have that playstyle like myself. Any other playstyle, I'm sure you have a great time and you will be incredibly good. Which also, by the way, for some reason everybody just seems like they've got amazing aim on this game. Everybody just seems pretty good. And I know that this is cross-platform, which is another thing that I should mention. And no, it's not because they're using a keyboard and mouse, which you can play against PC players if you're on PS4. But everybody just seems to be really good at this game. I'm not sure, maybe I've just been away from COD too long. But like sometimes they just seem like really elaborate bots. I mean, look at this guy. This guy literally tries to melee me before I come around the corner. What is this witchcraft? Another thing that I should mention, going kind of back to the SMG thing or the Russian kind of gameplay style, is that the weapon damage drops off really quickly for SMGs. So even at medium range, the SMGs are pretty much useless. They take like 4, 5 or even 6 bullets to kill somebody, whereas assault rifles take like 2 or 3. Like, I've had a few games just kind of taking it slow with an assault rifle, and it is so much more easier. Like the FAMAS, just like pretty much one burst people down most of the time. Another thing that I would like to point out in this game is the lack of multiplayer maps. I mean, there is not like tiny amount, but I think it's because like you've got all these 2v2 game modes and like special little maps for other game modes, that when you're playing something normal like team deathmatch or demolition and stuff like that, maps repeat themselves quite often. And that's pretty much all I've got to say. We can go back to like the menus and talk about that for a bit. Weapons have a lot of customization on this game. You can have up to like 5 accessories. You level up weapons. You've got a whole load of camo on each weapon. There aren't many microtransactions, or at least they don't spam the microtransactions in your face in this game, which is really appreciated as well. And in general, it's just a really well done multiplayer experience, except with that one flaw, that if you are the type of person that likes to run and gun, you are going to have a bit of adapting to do, let's just say. But anyway guys, from me it's going to be an easy 8 out of 10, and they did a really good job on this one. So if you did like COD, you should definitely go and check this one out. So thanks for watching guys, hopefully this review was helpful. If it was, please go like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.